just want to do this.
And I'm saying proximity to the mic is not too pick up things pretty readily. I'll warn you, that scotch tape doesn't stick to those stands very well. We really kind of need a clip.
No, it's all good.
We really, look here, Marina.
Okay.
This, just put one of those on. I'm going to get these buckets down. And put these out for the donations.
At least we have time to prepare, so that I'll see what you
All right. You want to tell the folks we're going to start in a minute? Let's see if they can hear you. We're gonna test that mic again. Okay.
I'm grateful to be asked.
And Eric, we're bringing down some of the lights, or? Yeah, how is that? Can this be heard everywhere? Hello, hello. How's that? How's that? Everybody can hear clearly? Okay. We're a couple of minutes maybe away from starting. And the first thing I want to remind everyone that quite seriously, you need to keep your mask on unless you are drinking, meaning you bring your mask down, enjoy a nice drink, put the mask back on as so we have to be really alert to that as a respect, for our colleagues and friends who, people different levels of vulnerability and consideration around that. So that's very essential. And we're really excited tonight to have two wonderful poets who, the first to read will be Marina Lazada. And among her other accomplishments, needless to say, she's an accomplished poet and musician, but she's also an herbalist and a California native plant gardener, which I think is a very fabulous thing. So, and I'm familiar with her work somewhat through the Amar Arcana project. Some of their publications have featured her, and I'm really looking forward to a chance to hearing her a bit at length. So, do what?
Try the other mic. It's up closer.
All right, that's better? All right, now we're talking. But I don't need to repeat anything I said, I assume. Huh?
No, you don't need to
Yeah.
repeat anything you said.
Okay, very
Awesome.
good.
We heard it.
Okay, great. As long as it was awesome and heard, we're great. All right, so it gives me a great pleasure to present Marina.
Thank you. Thank you. Here I am.
You might want to move the mic over a little.
Well, let's just see where she's going to stand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Am I talking here? Yeah.
You get close to it. You just have to see.
We can hear you.
Point it. You got to be behind it instead of to the side of it, and you'll be good.
It's behind it and a little bit to the side of it.
Instead of to the side of it.
Instead of,
That's
here
what
I
you
am.
want me.
I hear a little feedback.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Hi, you guys. Thanks for being here on this crazy time and on a Thursday night. And thank you so much. I'm showing like these pictures of my daddy. My 93-year-old dad passed yesterday. It's all good. I mean, just we're in the whole. I'm in the whole section of that he just passed. This is feeding back. So what should I do?
You're okay right now.
I'm okay like over here.
Uh-huh.
I have a really big mouth, so like mics are not necessary. What?
If you're closer, it's going to feedback less.
Yeah.
If I'm closer, it's gonna feedback less.
It's not pulling everything from the world into it.
It's all good. How's this?
That's better.
I gave you rosemary, some of you. And rosemary is the herb of remembrance. People in throughout history have planted rosemary in the front of their houses in order for when people came into their home that they were bringing in good memories and leaving with good memories. As medicinally, the herb can be used to bring circulation up to the brain. So if you have a sprig of rosemary, I ask that you continue to smell it. It is a ceremonial herb around remembrance. And I am in deep mourning right now. I lost my father yesterday, but it's all good. He was 93. And so forgive me if I move in and out of emotion. It's all good. Like, I feel really peaceful with his passing. So rosemary helps us in that. Thank you for being here. I'm going to read from my book called The Public Sound, which is from FMSBW Press, a San Francisco press. I'm so grateful for that. I'm going to read from this, and then I'm going to read some new stuff. And I'm going to read from the last poem that I've been writing since 2007, since the birth of my daughter, who is now 14. And it has to do with a honoring of her birth as well as the honoring of the earth. The book is called The Public Sound, thanks to my friend Patrick. The poem is called The Public Sound Inside the Sun. It's a serial poem in 14 parts, kind of like a sonnet, which is in 14 parts. 1. Your original sigh, sucking, and the active mind, a heart so unhinged thinking as it might, a shadow. On each word a shadow, by far the light over the house tills, you the ancient shadow, murmuring hunger and intention. Their original intention, fantasy ads and the four-wheeled back roads to in-seasoned foods. 2. Can a baby just take a nap? Live in a house like a Moroccan cap, green on red or orange? Ideal to love this city, September sun with no worry, the pushy ground won't curtail. How mellow the mossy photos down ride this feel, fail, flail, flap, fail. Can a baby just cry? Some nobulous, weepy eye. Can't we stick her eye into our heads and cry just once, ourselves some history? 3. Some days the sky opens in other places but the sky. I almost sleep without worry. The baby's cold. She sighs sometimes like skin. The most sun on my face is my neck and my name. The pebbles make a heart. She crawls and moves in abundant flesh. The slender yellow fan covering the rounded buttocks of the Buddha-bent man in front of me is flat. Now is the time to gather acorns, walnuts. The calyx opens to seed. Seasons skip, succumb. 4. A breath in your head, live with it. In the throat, in the moment. Catching up, no one's looking. Disturbed chord wander. Baby, oh baby, where will the fish be when you shore gallop in my dream? 5. Everyone, everywhere, usually wants everything, every day, mostly. 6. Beautiful you walk, a spider midair. My memory, your father's eyes. Don't walk up that hill, anemone hailing sea salt, you wouldn't believe. 7. On Fell Street, Quetzalcoatl, the Mexican wind god, the bird feather-headed and blowing the baby from my arms. 8. Nettles, alfalfa, red clover, chamomile, catnip, echinacea, fennel, wild oats, ceanothus, sticky monkey, live blue, white oat, miner's lettuce, shepherd's purse, chickweed, violet, Johnny jump up, calendula, yarrow, salvias, all salvias, Melissa officinalis, Vitex agnes castus, Hypericum perforatum, Artemisia, Leonardus, Cratagus, Verbascum thapsus, Artemis, Rumix, Sassafras, Singibar officinal, Symbucus, Thymus, Romarinus, Cinnamomum, Dandelion. 9. The economy, they say, oatmeal for hours on the stove, launders not swollen or over rocks, rodents and epidemics of books in the hall, living costs. 10. Take a bomb to the moon, search water, condo credit, proper views. I'm not one affording a moon, vulnerable to be cited as escape. Our shared body, water body, constellations, imprisoned coquette. 11. It is set in its perch, the city midriff line, St. Ignatius, Spied Point, hillside. Taxi rides from South Van Ness, helicopter naps and black flags. On my corner chevron, I think of motherhood, secure my breast. What a privilege. A word I often misspell, eventually crawl out under radar. The tipsy trees froth winter. The tipsy trees froth winter. There are pharmaceuticals in the water. 12. Keeping the blue jay occupied, found beneath a cup turned over, a sock that matches my neighbor's shirt. A beautiful turquoise lake top where the sun corners off. Behind the oak woodlands, a blue jay landscapes the upper forests, the above cliff hanging onto twigs and somehow swinging with a hop to a pile keeps the blue jay occupied, as not to see new weather, once so shallow to speak of, winking, rhythmic running in the acorn corridor. 13. There are plastics sinking and fumes float and assaults on pollination escape. There are keyboards on small mountains where, in China, young boys search out silver. There are dark orange clouds. The blinds are open and the hollow hum hums. Eclipse wanders and pink promoters and historical fiction legends true. and we let the hunt gather honey in our bones, while the bees fade with the story of this light. 14. The rounded flight offers windedness, getting back a fallen voice, the public sound inside the sun, recorded lights, street sighs, and no more construction today, no more construction today, only this, knowing to grow old now. Okay, go. So over the pandemic, I have asked friends to send visuals, visual art to me. I've received about 66 of them, and I'm still working on the poems that would either talk to those pieces or riff off of those pieces. I have performed them with the visual behind me. I hope to have them in a book someday, but I hope that the poems also hold as poems as well. So I'm going to read a few of those. And so I have the poems and I have the visual kind of printed. It's okay if you don't see them. I just want the poems to stand as well. So I'm going to go through a few of those. Oops. As I drop them all. Hold on. These are important. I can't have them down here on the floor. This is the first one, and this is my partner Jay Lee's first one. It's a poem, and it started the whole series. And the whole series is called A Mote of Blast and Phrase. And this started with just being in the lockdown in the beginning of the series and looking for inspiration, because I'm such a social person, so not having poetry readings or live venues to go to, it was really hard for me. So I reached out to friends and I said, hey, what are you doing? And most friends were making visual art. And so I wrote poems inspired by those pieces. And so the poem is on the back of the page. See if I can read it. Ooh, I can't. Let's see. Over here. Can you see that? It's okay. See, someday you'll see it. You'll see it behind me. Distance separates the at home, at least, in the neck of the parked wood. We acknowledge a schedule. We acknowledge a schedule. The lesser of two pomegranates. But to mount the day survives 3 lost pauses to the past. A desert postcard, the sloppy sun, a desert lark in an existential dew. The light of the ear, the light of the nose, but that is not contagious. The light of the lips, the light of the navel, but that is not electric. The light of the tongue, the light of the hips, and the tongue-tied apocalypse. The sun, our stomp, the widowed grocery store, and the waves don't with time now, a mote of blasts and phrase, between the hours at a distance, the world at least. Sounds like a poem to you? Awesome, because it felt like a poem to me. Sorry, I'm just trying to get here. So that was by Jay Lee. This is by Derek Fenner. This is what I got from Derek Fenner. Don't worry the good trouble. Worry the wild beings needing big bowls of rain. Unlearning the oldest tree caught in acceleration, no longer patient for sovereignty. Letter by letter, the alphabet unrolls, words not being the same for all the shooting around. Some say laughter is the first evidence of freedom, but others know deciduous is the heart's unraveling intent. For John Lewis. And this is by Robbie Sugg. The urban thrust in a half dome, way past tent city, lawn, sand, yard, dusty swallows on a porch, pack of swallows in their hand-sized huts. In the lines of the city, other cities. Cities come up through the feet, make the fog today distinguishable from smoke. Lightning lights the propagation of centuries, gum struck and spread, tangled white mind. Sorry, I'm not as organized as I should be.
Captive audience.
I know, right? This is a great watercolor by Jason Morris. As the tally man breaks the sucker in, this time an unexpected canter wrangles the pacing. You drag the wagon through the wooden mud, a bullet to the chest in that syntax. The cow boss won't night wrangle, no jigger boss. Were you hoping buckaroos cough up a few words? Or are you a hog-killing man? Gumnut from a gum tree hit you on the head like a ghost.
Give me the bacon.
This is by a wonderful dancer artist named Sally Hahn Morris. Pointing finger at house finch nesting in knotted hair, that sigh for seated minutes, measuring a stripped cove. Some days the cool weather breaks chest bone. Some days it blows the house down, buries in the house song, drum, body, bridge, drum, body, bridge, begs the spawn on. Always in wooden is the wood. Sorry, I can't deal with it all. This collage is by a poet archivist named Tate Swindell.
Oh,
That guy. It's extreme. A plain, detached dimmer, retracing lights, burning effigy, fulling fucking over a lamp's soapbox, sway, hunting down the gropers of our mind.
That's cool.
And this is by a woman named Rachel Hammerline, who spends most of her time either in Ohio or India. I could prune the twisted ancient plum tree today. 40 years of succulent fruit and bird hunts at the crooked root feet, wild parrot murmurations nearing midday, last night's rain, right off the roof, parrots pushing puddles. Sterling parrot murmurs, I think, add more cloth masks to the emergency kit, I think. Add more cloth masks to the emergency kit, I think. Replace the smoke season. Rain, rain for all tomorrow's flames, and drip, not unlike a forest. Just a couple more. And this is a photograph by the poet Gloria Frim. This morning, the virtual speaker says it's better to be thankful. This morning, the virtual speaker says it's better to be thankful while the affordable rent goes up. Write it down to change the brain. Saturn's ring on edge 2 faced forward and back, a god of doorways, of many moons, for dwelling like a house, like a door stuck in pendulum. The house begins an alphabet before the door. The speaker today says, be better thanking while the affordable rent goes up. Write it down to change the brain. And just a couple more, just 2 more. This is a collage by Patrick Dunnigan. As we slide down this hillside face first, asphalt surf guides our strong inclination to adapt to unruly surfaces. We find rest stops wherever we shed ourselves, and still we are unfounded in our droppings, in our search, although we often forget we already know what moves us is just a hill. And then the last one, this is, it's not a very good print. Matt Gonzalez. Bumping off the effervescent coast today, running off the great society, an imperfect spiral, rooted in air and simultaneously lifting. From my gut stem, from my gut stem, from my gut stem, a crest of botany, still attending as I wander away, but even a space-jointed binge surrounds me like a house. From my gut stem, from my gut stem. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Cool. All right, and our second feature of the evening is Jessica Lews, who I've known since the early 2000s, and in addition to her talents as a poet, performance artist, living theater member, she's also a great poetic entrepreneur in terms of organizing events like the North Beach First Friday Art Walk and the North Beach Art Festival and other events at Specs and other venues. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Jessica Lews.
Come on, Jessica.
Also, everyone remember, please keep your masks on if you're not actively.
Are you Jessica?
Well, hello everyone.
Hi, Jessica.
Thank you very much for coming. Happy Chinese New Year to you all.
Name for choice.
Yes, I never say it right, so that's why I didn't. But thank you for saying it. And I have a whole pile of things here to read, and hopefully they will not all fall to the floor when I might file through deciding which of them not to read. And that's how I wasn't joking when I heckled to Marina when she said, "Oh, I feel so disorganized." I said, "Wait till you see me, because there might be an avalanche."
Here we go.
But hopefully not. But I'm going to start out with a poem called "A World Without Walls."
Sounds good already.
The smell of fresh-cut lawns in sneezy, moist New Jersey suburbs makes me think of people without homes, reminds me of dusty hay and deep cow manure on farmland roads in Skaneateles, which reminds me of the fossil fuels raised for barbecued steaks and for the cars for all the traffic jams on the Jersey Turnpike. But the earthy smell of just raked leaves, the autumn leaves, leaves me with the coming snow, which reminds me of scents from other negative ion emitters, the sappy pines and the salty ocean, which smells like it sounds and reminds me of refugees on the run, drowning at sea, trying to flee in a world without walls. This wouldn't be the ubiquitous responses to Anno Me everywhere. Bring the walls down, brick by brick, inch by inch, row by row. We gotta get there, make the garden grow. Don't let the sun go down. In a world without walls, girls wouldn't be raped in Africa because some men think it'll cure them of AIDS. Children wouldn't get bombed, maimed, and killed in Damascus. They'd be at school learning the abacus and calculus. Kids wouldn't be sex trafficked in Hamtramck. They'd be home making ceramics. In a world without walls, climate change wouldn't be fake news. Maria and Katrina might have stayed home. And what about the sapphire sun from the flames, even here in San Francisco? The rancid, thick stench of burning cars, chemicals, and scorched bodies in paradise. All the people who couldn't get out, which isn't pleasure. Here comes the sun. Where is the sun? We gotta get there. Paradise now.
Right on. Just beautiful. Nicely done.
This is called Broken. Along the sun, a stone moves, increments itself on sapphire heat, then slips away. It encumbers the dying embers of the day, turns the sky to bone, drops all the stars from the box between your legs where bananas go and coconuts grow and then fall down like cherries on Sunday.
Indeed they do.
I pluck the stems with my teeth, stain the lips of canyons and the old limbs of trees. A leaf capsizes near the sand, goes shh, then fizzes back into the big sea, playing freeze tag, foams of soug, all the clusters of weeds sync with the intervals of the moon.
Beautiful.
Red, red eyes surround me, hide the stains, wrap them in petals, dirty cotton, barns in the country. I fall like a crashing jug of wine, watch the berries on the rocks, carried by red ants, squish. I had a cherry box pop. Where is my little red wagon? What is a ton of bricks? Hide. There is a broken, silent echo. Everything is red. The stage. He is red. He has big shoes and he's on the corner with no teeth. He wears a wig, designs his cheek. His paint might scare the children. He can't juggle well. His balloon hats kill the fish. His gum is 5 cents. Each pantomime struggle is roses from torn sleeves. They fall into an empty cabaret. He honks his nose, sits down in a busted chair, takes it off with cold cream. It isn't his job anymore. 33. Eyes splinter into bird feet, black on 2, chipped teeth and spiders weave below one knee. My body canvas, a fruit pit you see. 33. Food stays on, friends die, my face sags like a drinker. Sog. Octopus sog me, press my face in kiwi, tentacle carnival, rhinoceros fat, give me, pluck me, suck me out, sweet pomegranate, wet kumquat, slick cheetah on a stick, white coconut flavored jism bug, take a little lick, pink tangerine, my pussy pop, zebra bloog me, leopard popsicle, swing high, throw me, rave me, make me, let me lick your gumdrop. Ah, the astronomic sound, gastronomy swallowed, eat me, move me, love me, wet my mound of grass. Love is like a shadow jutting out from under the sun. It comes out into the sky and steeps the day in shade. The sun is a pink banjo on the streets of Brooklyn. Before the cactus sinks into the ground, go prick your finger. The waters are dead. The flowers are dead. The water is all gone. The sun is not coming. Before the cactus sinks into the ground, go prick your finger. The line. A government system marked by centralization of authority is a dictator's priority. Crush the opposition, terror, censorship, embrace belligerent racism, the inferiority of non-whites, fear the browning of America, shoot, cage, take away, march in Charlottesville, defend Confederate monuments, carry kill the Jews signs, a torchlight. There was proof that night that our flag was still there, indivisible and justice for all. Don't rise up for the pledge or the banner, bring a hammer. The bombs bursting in air, rock against fascism, stand with the street punks, boots and braces, don't make a racist, fuck skinheads, KKKs, fuck Nazi sympathy. Okay. Maybe I'll skip this one because it's long. I'm going to skip that one. Okay, this one I actually forgot that I had even written. And I found it today when I was having to move everything out of my room because there was a leak in my ceiling. But anyhow, it's called Migzorkshi's Pictures at an Exhibition because I wrote it after I saw that piece performed at the San Francisco Symphony. And it's actually one of my favorite classical music pieces. And apparently the first page is missing, so you can just pretend that you heard something before this, or maybe I dropped it on the floor. I don't know. But here we go. What remains of it? That tambourine, a little wind-up grinder, a triangle too, tam-tam, timpani, drum. One tuba is an ox-drawn wagon. It has enormous wheels. The whip snaps it. It's not inscribed in the music. The watercolor castle isn't shown. The rattle, the cymbal, a bell, trumpets, cow, off into the distance. An alto saxophone frolics alone. 35 violins, violas, cellos. The contrabass barely sets pace. Glockenspiel, bone, xylophone. That hut on fowl's legs digs chicken. The chicks in their shells are supple pods. These canaries in helmets can tutu, tutu. Flutes twaddle, harps sprinkle, fairy dust and glitter. A Jew in hat fur has teeth, metal, clock. A horn is a peony nose, oboe, bassoon, contrabassoon. Baba Yaga flies, bringing down the great gate of Kiev, celestia, clarinet, piccolo, but once this was only the piano. Axe number 1. He tweaks on the mouthpiece all day and he washes his thing in the sink. He calls the horn bitch, chews on a stupid reed. Axe number 2. He bends down, scoops up the air with his horn and shovels dirt. His reed gets him on the way back up. He growls arg and keeps on playing. Axe number 3. His back arches like a turtle, its shell about to snap compared to the speed of his fingers. He plays atonal blues, bebop phrases that end fast. He fights the metal. His hat stays on somehow. Acoustics bounce back at him. His toes curl up in concentration under his shoes. Embouchure winds. Ravens of Juno. They come in spring and fly in a blue Art Brit sky. They use the wind to fixate, to heckle the duende. So much for Ermaya, Lorca, and Isadora. The ravens are Mession's silent prayer. They are the dark spot that dances on Cecil Taylor's anorexic heart. He was a good friend of mine, actually, but yeah. This is a poem called The Alphabet Museum, which is about my good friend, David Meltzer. And this was actually published in an online series of poems that my friend Patrick Dunnigan put together, who is here this evening. And so the Alphabet Museum for David Meltzer. The Alphabet Museum, that place you dig, where one finds words, letters on letters, bold consonants, secret vowels, A-E-I-O. You swing from Brady Bunch to bebop, Delachinsky to Stravinsky, Lester Prez to hip-hop to No Eyes, Boom Boom to Judy Blume, Lonely Room, Two-Way Mirror, Clearer, and all the way back, be-do-bop, quick, smooth, sax, B-flat, be-do-bop, be-do-bop, be-do-do-bop, be-do-do-bop. I gave you a Valentine in your box, next to mine, alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, E, F, llama moop, Every time I see you, it said, I want to give you a bath. Ooh-la sud, ooh-la sud, ooh-la sud sud. We made out in specks with glasses, red wine glasses of letters, letters on letters, the Alphabet Museum, that place you dig. I want a bath, beat a boop. And I'm going to close out with a poem that I wrote about my father, who passed away a year and a half ago. And I'm presumably working on either a series of poems about him, or maybe I'll start developing this from the inside out, but I kind of like it the way it is, so I have yet to determine that. And it does not have a title as of yet either. But 2 summers ago, we went to Specs in Point Pleasant for lunch with Wendy and Michael. When you dropped me off, I got out of the car and kissed you goodbye. I looked into your eyes, hoping it wasn't going to be the last time I saw you. I wanted to give you a hug, but I didn't. I was afraid I'd cry. It was the last time I saw you. 3 summers ago, we also went to Spike's. After we drove to the Manascon Inlet, looking across the water at Carlson's and the jetty. I remember going out on your boat, which I don't remember the name of. I was only 3. One dark, moonless night, we were heading back to the marina. I asked you how you knew where the entrance to the inlet was. I follow the fishing boats. I know where they're going, and I know where they're going, and I know they know where they're going, and I know where I'm going. The ocean just called, waves the water back downside, wobbly boats float home. My dad, Peter, liked the 81st birthday card I gave him. It was a photo by Ed Brooks, the photographer, of some kids climbing onto a boat in Vietnam. On the envelope, I drew a picture of his boat in later years, the Brimarigi. My brother named it. It was spelt with the first syllable of all the kids in the family's names. Brian, Michael, Rebecca, Jessica, Brimarigi. My favorite part, he said, was all the fish swimming above the water, waving his hands in motion in the air. Very abstract, he said. Very abstract. Once at the seaside boardwalk, he gave me $50 to play 3-card Monte with the woman with the seashells. When I spent all the money and lost, I asked him for 20 more bucks. Don't you get it? She's a fucking shell artist. Sometimes you gotta listen to the messenger and not the message. Sometimes it's hard to know which is which. We kept walking, passing an ice cream sundae booth. He said they had a sign for banana split special. He said the only thing bad that is very special about life is that I won't be around to see more of it. But with some people, the only thing missing is the banana peel for them to slide right down on. I sing the body electric, zap, 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 he said at John Brown's farm in Saranac Lake when there was a bolt of heat lightning. I don't understand poetry, he said. You just quoted Walt Whitman. I sing the body electric. He's a poet. I know, but so what? I also like that one about stopping by the woods on a snowy evening by Frost. Get it? Snowy evening, that guy Frost? Yes, I get it. Ha ha, Dad. Lots of people think that poem is a metaphor for death, I said. What do you think? That's bullshit. I think it's about stopping by the woods on a snowy evening. So, there you go.
Beautiful. You know that. Perfect. Very, very good.
Well,
Beautiful. Bravo.
thank you, everyone.
Jessica, man, it's been.
Thank you, Jessica. Cheers.
Yeah.
Here's a look.
Yay, Jessica.
Yeah, right on. Let me entertain you.
Yeah, that's ending with a bang. I love it. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. We could have a whole symposium about that one. Okay, very good. So we're going to take like a 5-8 minute break. We'll come back, have the open session. And again, I want to thank people for keeping their masks on when they're not drinking. I encourage you all to drink so you can be in and out with your masks. So we'll see you in 5 to 8
Drinking
minutes.
is encouraged. Beautiful. You check this all out.
Oh, good.
You got it? Okay. So I was a little remiss in the poet compensation announcement. So the nonprofit will be giving a little honorarium to them, but if you guys can throw a little something in one or two of those buckets, that helps them out as well. So feel free to be generous. All right, thank you.
They're both bullshit. University press, or yeah, university press. Expensive.
This is the one that.
So the Ruth Weiss, the hardcover is $100.
The thing that we had here.
Yeah. There'll be later in the year. There'll be a soft cover, probably around 30. The Harold Norris right now. I couldn't tell you. I didn't know I'm part of it. I don't know if it's hardcover, soft cover. It is. It's $90.
First of all, what I know anything about the Ruth Weiss stuff. What are they? What's the Ruth Weiss?
The Ruth Weiss, Thomas has been working on it for a while, like mainly in this region of Spain. It's a combo, maybe like a dozen poems in the open, and then like a bunch, academic, like not too stuffy, but like critical, theory about her shit.
So it's not just her poetry.
No, it's none of her poetry. It's like me in the beginning. It's like me, Aggie, Neely, and a few Ruth close friends.
You're all in it.
Yeah, about a dozen poems, and then and then it gets into about 20 essays.
But yours, the poems of yours.
A poem. We all have one poem.
About her.
Yeah, we all have one.
About her.
Yeah, it's not a poem. It's a fucking. People would say prose, but I don't say prose. I say it's a riff. It's fucking single space. Probably tough to read for a lot of people. 2 pages, single space.
So it's a tough read.
I don't think a lot of people can look at one block of text on a fucking page and want to read it. Yeah, but if people pick up a poetry book or sit in a literature book, they might fucking read it.
You're talking about your own.
Yeah,
Denigrate.
I did it on purpose. I'm not gonna change it. It's a fucking. If you hear me read it, it'll make sense. No, I'm denigrating on the paper and the format. That's the way it is. I'm just saying I look at it and be like, I'm not reading. Well, unless I jumped into it and caught me, which I think this thing does, because it's just fucking like.
I hear you talking about the whole book.
No, but you hear me read it. I'm gonna do like I don't know 4 or 5 minute pieces, 6 minute pieces.
So where can one find me as getting copies of it?
So the contributors, I know we got a copy, and he's not really like trying to promote or do anything with the hardcover because it's
So he edited.
him and this woman.
Right. Well, I should have asked him that.
But he's not. I mean, what do you want to fucking buy a copy for? Like, he'll give you a wholesale price of $80.
I want to see it.
Oh, okay. I have a copy. I'll bring it. What's coming up next? Shit. Not that I know this one.
I just would like to see it.
Oh, actually, well, he's reading
1 minute to the
tonight.
second session.
He got added into the first Friday. Who? The guy on first. What's on second?
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Thomas, who we were just talking
Still
about.
in town.
No, he's not in town. He's up in Point Green.
He's in the vicinity. He's in the Bay Area. So he's going back to Austin.
Not till like March.
Well, I thought he was going to leave here.
Or whatever, February. He gets 3 months. He can't skip. Do the math.
I don't know this yet.
It's been about 2 months. He's been here about 2 months.
I thought he was here for 3 months and then going back.
No. He's got time.
So he's going to be tomorrow night.
His wife is from fucking.
There was a woman I used to see him.
Oh, there was a woman traveling with her friend. Yeah. Anyway,
So tomorrow night
tomorrow night he's part of First Friday.
he'll be there. I don't know if he's going to be there.
All right, well.
Depends on how I feel. I could go down. I do all the time. I do it on a regular basis. The other thing was Loos Weiss Memorial.
I don't know anything about it.
Is there one? I'm asking.
No, I haven't heard about it.
When are you ready?
Are you ready? Did she die of? I don't know.
You don't know. Does anybody know?
Okay, Michael Koch is coming up to start the open mic, do a little reading to introduce it. Michael is our great asset to the poetry world of Beckett. So if you guys could settle in, we'll get this open going. All right, here's Michael.
All right, so we're going to have the second set, the open thing. I think we have a dozen poets, so everyone, you know, a couple of relatively brief things would be awesome. You know, poignant and unforgettable, but not too lengthy. This is called Kudos to Father Time. Not to be too clinical, but the acuity of the brain declines with age. The dog spots verge on illegible. Moonlight is ambivalent. Trees and tires lose their tread as rogue thoughts flee the jurisdiction of the mind. Exercise, nutrition, word games, no matter. The clock keeps sporadic time, and sleepless nights are measured in centuries. So that's the bad news about the passage of time, and this is kind of the good news. It's called Tempus Fugit, Part 2. Time, what a vixen, what a flirt. But each passing moment, my hair gets thicker, my step bouncier, my skin more luminous, my teeth whiter and more numerous. My memory is so reliable it frightens me. I blink and the sky pauses. Birds rhyming on rooftops gaze in my direction. Money is everywhere, half of it mirrors, half of it smoke. I open a book at random. It says, drinks will be served. I put my esoteric ass down on a lawn chair. I know nothing about seeds or machines, electricity or fish migration. I can barely salt my wounds. The voluptuous veils that hide the earth ride over me. You have some bad news for me, but I'm getting better by the minute, badder by the day. All right, thank you. And then my co-host Jerry Ferraz will read something next. You're trying to escape. Here comes Mr. Jerry Ferraz.
All right. Bring it on for Jerry.
No autographs, not in doctor order.
No autograph.
Hey, Jerry.
This is the Indian winter in San Francisco, 2021-22. I look skyward as I walk through the old neighborhood of my youth, my childhood dreams, for the stars are speaking to me again. Two big, bright, beautiful lamps with lots of personality, obscuring the light of all the other stars tonight, in a playful display of nature's power, wisdom, and generosity, just for fun, just for me, and for my poetry, as Indian summer in September becomes Indian winter in November, gift of the weather gods, their silent laughter wrapped in foggy mystery, reminding me of the poet's job of leaving a record of my journey. For we poets too are just passing through, joining a procession of ancestors with all the suffering and ecstasy, all the wonder and humor on their faces, the hopes and dreams of all mankind in their expression, the dream of inspiration with a silence that says all. So are we living in heaven or a kind of hell where even misfortune teaches us to pay attention? All I know is heaven and hell, good and evil, are right here on earth. It all depends on how you see it. For the nature of or virtue of reality is itself relational. 'Tis what makes evolution possible. One day we shall cross over to that golden shore we are dreaming of today, a time that is all times, a dream that is all dreams, a truth that is all truths. A glance into the mirror of suchness tells us all things are passing, all things are transitory, yet our essential identity remains the same, the unchanging within change, the everlasting light in the cave, the jewel in the lotus. Om Mani Padme Hum. May all beings be free from suffering. Okay, so, Bill.
Okay.
Bill Mercer.
I used to take this off for a couple of minutes. We got this spring. It was rosemary they gave us. Yeah, for remembrance.
Hey, Bill, come a little more over towards that microphone, just we
Okay, how about that?
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you.
We got this sprig of rosemary for remembrance, and this is what poem I'm going to read. This is for Susan Birkeland. It's written in haikus. It's like haiku stanzas. Voyage for Susan. The eternal rose drapes the morning with garlands of crimson and gold, and it works better if I can see. Start over. The eternal rose drapes the morning with garlands of crimson and gold. A bright new boat called the Spirit is launched into clear crystal waters. It rides high with prow aimed for the far horizon and the lands beyond. Those unknown lands call, coaxing the Spirit away from familiar shores. The strict morning sun unloads its freight of knowledge, the scholar's guidebook. The fierce midday sun carefully packs bottles of sacramental wine, wine that flows from the brow of our toil, the sacred wine of life's struggle. The unfurling rose of evening adds the tender cargo of the heart. Siren song, Cupid's arrow, hearts beat together, hearts that beat alone. Rose folds into dark, night pulls mind to vertical and towering sky. Moon packs on its freight of wind song, shadow dance, and words to paint the stars. Deep night gifts compass and scale. Value becomes known and direction shown. First rose petal peaks into solid night. Distant shore comes into sight. Just as diamonds are slowly squeezed from coal, spirit is pressed into soul. Boat now called the soul rides low in water, laden with its many gifts. The soul is weathered but seaworthy, now stretches for that unknown shore. unknown hands from those unknowable lands reach to welcome thee soul home. The unknowable known, the ineffable shown, soul from spirit grown. The eternal rose drapes the morning with garlands of crimson and gold. A new boat is launched into crystal waters, prow to far horizon.
Okay, Bill, and Jane Radish.
I'm reading some poems from a book that I published. Shooting stars. The stars are out and they might leave without us. The moon might leave without us. Us on the earth, dallying and slow. The stars might leave without us and go to another solar system. They're tired of us ruining their atmosphere. They might leave without us, leave us in a dark stage on a shadowy earth. We had taken them for granted, and they just took off. The invention of clouds. I thought I'd invented clouds, but it turns out someone had done it a long time ago. Was he Greek? Was he God? Who is he anyway? I'd known I was a god, but not the same one. A hot one, but only in my head. It's over my head what's going on. It's written in the clouds what's happening.
Beautiful.
And the last one, traveling back in time. The map of our relationship is up on the wall. You are always to one side and I to the other. Roads and playgrounds and open space, free and windy, overgrown with dry grass and remains of houses. I call you from an empty lot, and we're both 7 years old, out of doors, discovering old cars abandoned in the woods and wild raspberries. I almost knew at the time it was a wonderful thing to remember. Thank you.
That's so cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Wonderful.
Okay, Troy.
Okay?
No.
No? No, that wasn't. That was too much feedback. Closer and slower. Like so. How's this?
No.
Say when.
No.
Hello? Okay. When I went to China a few years ago, I spoke maybe, at best, 10 phrases, badly, in Chinese. Even if I would have been so brave to ask a question, I wouldn't have understood the answer. However, in a bar one night, I found myself in the company of a group of heartily drinking and happy young men who only spoke ever so much more slightly English than I did Chinese. No matter. Through our shared male experience, affable moods, and most of all, the universal language of alcohol, we all started to converse, dare I say freely, discovering who was married, who was single, where we were from, our drinks of choice, and even, in most cases, what we did for a living. I have known less about my English-speaking companions than I've known for 10 years. A little bit more about that universal language of alcohol. That slow motion melodrama. Alcohol. The impossible becomes the promise. The practical becomes the anathema. The sensual becomes the forgotten. Thus is the bond between alcohol and men, or at least it's men who get most of the blame. Listen to this. According to the literature of AA, if you've ever been drunk once, maybe twice in your life, that qualifies you as an alcoholic. Wow. Let that sink in for a minute. AA suddenly seems like as plausible as the Flat Earth Society. What does AA mean? Alternative alien universe? For the rest of us back on this planet, alcohol is that strange creature of duality, quick to make enemies of friends and friends of enemies, known to enliven and to deaden, to allow the timid to find their voice and strong men to weep like shame-faced babies. Sometimes a drink is just what the doctor ordered, and other times it's just what the doctor told you not to do. Sometimes it's the reason that your sexual performance is impossible. Other times it's the only reason you're having sex at all. Alcohol has resulted in its share of stupid crime, physical violence, emotional hurt, familial abuse, and endless hyper-emotional traumas far out of proportion for just one substance. But, on the other hand, it has also enhanced and inspired great and popular art and artists, and is woven into humanity's best cultural practices around the world and throughout time. In more than one case, the oldest living person at any given time has sworn that the one thing that's the secret to longevity is a shot of alcohol at bedtime. Of course, if you've never imbibed, you probably shouldn't start. Still, sometimes life does seem like a bar. If you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, it's lonely, dangerous, unwelcoming, or even outright hostile. Overpriced, overrated, pathetic. But if you're in the right place, it's warm, it's familiar, it's comforting, it's supportive. In bars, as in life, you are wise to avoid shaking hands with demonic characters. But should death himself walk in, do not try to hide by cowering in the bathroom, where surely he will find you. Elvis on the toilet, anyone? Instead, you might be better off to buy him a drink. He might take down everyone else in the place, but if you buy him a cold one, he might just swell, sit down, pause, even laugh with you, become a forgettable tipsy, and totter off away. Now, death, of course, will always get the last laugh. But but if you're going to face him with a drink, and he'll be placated for now. The morning after, no doubt, death will realize that you have cheated him, and with a curse and a spit, that you have slipped away without paying the tab. Well, tough shit. He knows where to find you, but he'll just have to come back for you another day. Okay. One last one. Okay. I have 3, but I'll be generous and read 2. Man, the anti-social animal. What joy compares to avoiding someone that you don't want to see? Avoiding people we don't like is one of life's greatest pleasures. Think of the satisfaction you get when you find out you've missed seeing that dreaded someone. And if you see that person but can escape before they see you, well, that's a pleasure like nothing else. The relief of missing someone you don't want to see easily outweighs the melancholy of missing someone you do want to see. It's even better than accidentally running into someone you like. Object all you want, but experience bears this out. Now, first consider quantity. Among the living, you can count maybe 3, 4 people you'd like to run into. 4 if you're an extroverted person, 2 if you're an actually honest person. Of those 2, only 1 would actually be happy to see you. Seeing no one on the bus is actually great. No one is exactly who you wanted to see, except perhaps the bus driver, unless he's late, again. Have you ever gotten on a bus and you've been the only passenger? That's the coolest thing in the world. Maybe it lasts 7 minutes, but it means that there are no strangers near you, including and especially the one drunk that you're sitting next to right now. And it's not just strangers. Seeing people you know is actually worse. You certainly wouldn't want to see anyone from work, After all, you've just spent all day trying to avoid your coworkers as much as possible. Nor do you want to see anyone from school. You're just unlucky if you happen to see your neighbor, then you're stuck with a jerk all the way home. The only thing worse than seeing one of your neighbors is seeing one of your exes. Think for a moment of the lengths you would go to prevent seeing one of your exes. You'd gladly give a month's salary, 2 months' salary if it's your college ex. For your ex-wife, maybe 3 months' salary. And if she's with her new, younger husband, consider a payment plan, perhaps. If you see an ex on the bus route that you normally take to work, you might even consider taking a different route from then on, or at least leave at a different part of the day. And if that happens a second time, you consider working in a different part of town. Not only that, you don't want your ex to see you. Having your ex see you when you happen to be arm in arm with a knockout is a rarity left for the fortunate few. Your ex is far more likely to catch you on a day when you're hungover and afflicted with some terrible canker facial sore. But if you're lucky enough to get away without being spotted, then have the good sense to recognize when God has thrown you a favor. It's the thrill of successful espionage, and you've actually done the inconvenience of yourself by getting off 6 blocks before you stop to avoid being seen, but suddenly you feel like you're James fucking Bond. So what's all to blame for all this anti-socialism? Many point the finger at 21st century technology, the social media that has made us all less social, the information age that has left everybody suspicious of information from any direction. But our indifference and hostility towards each other is nothing new. Hell is other people, Sartre wrote more than 75 years ago. In 1859, Darwin posited that humans evolved from earlier animals. But Mark Twain disagreed. While he acknowledged the insights of his contemporaries' theory, Twain argued that actually Darwin had it backwards. Man, Twain pointed out, is the lowest of all creatures. Unique among all living things, man is the only one that poses an existential threat to us all. Our anti-socialism is so deep, so naturally inherent, that we are rapidly destroying not only each other, not only ourselves, but we're jeopardizing life itself. Consider, since 1970, 50% of all Earth species have now gone extinct. Since 1970. We may recoil in horror upon reading such a statistic. We may pay lip service about how much we care, insisting in our conversations that something somehow must be done about this. But even before this conversation is over, we're already thinking about what's our next chance to eat, what's our next chance to drink, what's our next chance to fuck. More consumption, more reproduction. The virus is the virus of humanity that puts pressure on both sides of the ecosystem until all life we've squeezed out of it. When John Lennon hoped that someday you will join us and he will live as one, he was asking us to imagine and asking us to dream. But when Charles Schultz said that I love humanity, it's just the people I can't stand, he was asking us to wake up.
Okay, thank you, Troy. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, Claire.
Oh, sorry. You know, there's a moment every day where I pull off my mask and I say, that's it for today. I don't have to put it back on. So just wanted to share that. Let me see, make sure this is how it should be. Okay. This is a maiden voyage. I have never performed this. I have never read it to a friend. I have never given it to someone to read. So if it falls apart, we can pretend it didn't happen. Go. It's called Flipped. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. Yeah, I may look okay, but my brain perpetually dismantles. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. All live in my head and in the heads of my people. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. Our hands slip when we try to grasp the American dream. Because no one wants crazy working by their side. Insane's looks scare off prospective landlords. People are too uncomfortable to befriend psycho. And flipped is forced to sit on the sidewalk, grimaces and averted faces passing by. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. We're never allowed because we can't conform. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. We're claimed to be unfit for all that matters. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. We make up over 3/4 of the women's prison population. Behind bars, crazy is denied medication. Insane is harassed and beaten by other inmates. Psycho is tortured by correctional officers, and Flip's naked and shit-smeared corpse is found on the floor of solitary confinement. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. We're not trusted in retail establishments. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. We are always the first to be accused. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. The police are called when we enter your neighborhood. Unarmed, crazy, insane, psycho, flipped stares down the barrel of a gun of a rookie cop who wrongfully and ignorantly determines that crazy, insane, psycho's flipped behavior is a threat and a danger. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. We don't take to the streets and protest. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. Our fists don't pump with pride. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. Battling our brains takes all our spirit. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped. A detested and an alienated minority, we're taught to fear and disgust even ourselves. Crazy, insane, psycho, flipped.
Okay, Alice Rogoff. Oh, sorry.
Well, perhaps this could be for Tony Ryan. I'm really sorry to hear that he passed away, and I'm sure Jessica is. On small and large islands, warm weather, the winds blow across the sand. Hear the voices of vendors calling for pineapples, waking up in the morning, and also hurricanes come sweeping through, waking up helicopters, propellers, wind blows election away. One capture, leaders gone, soldiers running through the halls of government. Haiti, Chile, turnover happens over and over. A drawing of Neruda sits on my desk. This is for Phyllis Holliday, poet.
Yeah.
If you remember Phyllis.
Yes, I do, yeah. I remember her from Minnie's Can Do.
Yeah, she used to go there and was friends with Ruth Weiss.
Yeah.
Sloughed off, traveling the circus wagon wheels of your life, from one backwoods Oregon town to the next, a black-haired girl walking high railroad trestles. Like you say now, there is no one else in town like you. You had to go 200 miles to find someone to talk to. Aunts were kind on Sundays. Isolation brought its gifts. And this is called Skeleton. On the edge of the Mission in front of St. Luke's Hospital, windy day by the bus stop, a black garbage bag is blown across the road, a skeleton on one side of the frayed bag. The faded bones dance, lifted high, flying up to a low cloud and swooping down underneath a blue truck. My bus pulls in and carries me away, death flickering through the window's long array like a flip book kineograph, death dancing on the hood, in the hood, as I travel on.
Okay, and now we have a special honored guest, Tate.
That guy wants him.
Is he here?
It's a very short poem.
Sorry.
It's a very short poem. Okay. Watering cacti.
We need some water. Yeah, we need some rain. Yeah. Okay, now Tate has written down Jason.
They're both gone.
Jason, they're both gone. They left.
Okay, Kazue. From the neighborhood here.
Hi, so I have been a member of this poetry group called POETS Wanted, and we published anthology a year and a half ago. So, and my poem, 3 of my poems are in that, and so I'm gonna read one of them tonight. No, it's okay. So this one is called "The Fault of Uber." 6 p.m. Friday evening, bus 22 stuck in traffic. A man sitting behind me, furious. On the phone, he repeats, "I will never make it on time. It's because of this traffic. Uber cars everywhere. I prepared everything for this day. Sleepless nights and no weekends. And I will never make it on time because of Uber cars." A vibrant Friday evening on bus 22. Fire alarms and house music outside. 5 people on the bus, quietly sitting. "I want to bomb Uber cars. I will never make it on time. Uber cars everywhere and destroying our lives." There is no sound on the bus other than this man's rant. The bus moves slowly, arriving at Mission and the 16th stop. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, Kazue, and August.
First of all, must take this off. I forgot to ask you, Eric. Is it possible to use the mic and walk around and not?
No.
That'll pick you up pretty well.
Okay, can I?
I'll raise it up a little bit and position it. It'll catch you pretty well.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Just give me a moment. No, we're not. That handheld mic would just feedback and misbehave. But this catches you pretty good from it.
Yeah, I'm just not.
I'm just going to bring it up a little
I'm
higher.
not very comfortable sitting.
Well, then
down.
you just relax, and everything is going to be fine.
Oh, I'm very relaxed.
I know. That's good. Okay, I think that's good.
Well, I have a couple. I have a. I'd like to say first of all.
Yeah, it probably is, yeah.
There we go. I am here representing Bleed Incorporated, where selling art is like tying your ego to a leash and walking it like a dog. They are the creators of August Bleed and other serial characters, not killers. And they found me many years back. I actually have the same name as Mr. Bleed, and so it works out very interestingly. I love computers. So the first thing I'll read, I have a couple things to read to you. One is a fairly short poem, and the second is our Bleed Ink How-To Guide number 67, which is kind of topical today. It was written in 2007, and I believe Bleed Ink is coming out with a revised copy. So you may be able to see that in the coming weeks. I would like to start out with a serious poem. I think that's the way to start out. Youth is not important, nor is the flower that dreamt it. The body of my death barely knows the shy finger that comes to etch it. Like those muses who drink from ponds of pure silence, I want to suckle in night's foreign hours the nectar of beauty's awful conclusion. I want lovers lost to love, nights dark as obsidian the negress holds close. True knowledge is a slight wind that lifts the branches where they've fallen with more questions than answers. A weather more delicate, because my mind's delicate weather stirs where my dreams sharpen from the hilt. Thank you. And our how-to guide number 67 is on the subject of shoplifting. It has a little quote under it saying, "This could be your best Christmas ever without spending a dime." And there are some yogic techniques in here that I thought were rather interesting. The 5-finger Asana is excuse me, I'm getting old now and I forget. The 5-finger Asana is a yogic technique widely credited to left coaster August Bleed, whose name I happen to share. However, it requires a lot of training. The stomach is sucked in dramatically as the shoplifter draws a deep breath. The breath is exhaled, but the stomach remains indented, and the resulting empty space is perfect for storing valuables that belong to other people. When perfected, this method works great as a temporary storage space for LCD monitors up to 19 inches and laptops. A slightly baggy shirt and belted trousers keep the merchandise both hidden and held securely. Now, a variant allows the item to be stored under the armpit, coupled with a generous, roomy jacket. And I did not wear that just tonight for that purpose. So the object is again held and concealed. It also allows the bottom of the perpetrating arm to swing in a normal gesture when walking. And if anyone sees you slip your hand in your jacket, pretend to scratch an itch. And finally, I wanted to read two more things. One is the common excuses crooks use to justify theft. Number one is I only steal so my dog can eat. Number two, these fucks don't pay me enough. This is my way of evening things up. Number three, I really, really like J-Lo. And I felt her CD was speaking to me directly. Number four, if the store didn't want to be ripped off, they certainly would have better security in place. And number five, it was already marked down a ridiculous amount. They were practically giving it away anyway. Let's see if I have anything else that I would like to share with you. Oh, this is very good. Behind every unsuccessful shoplifter is a good Samaritan. They are the bane of merchandise liberators everywhere. Remember, you want to get in and get out. If you see one of these creatures lingering too long in the same aisle where you wish to perform your magic task, take drastic measures. Look them straight in the aisle, smile, and insert your finger in either nostril. You get extra credit for putting your finger in your mouth afterwards. Oh, no. Credit for, oh yeah, no, I said that. Scratching at your balls with a fervor known only to those who have experienced genital poison oak after a bad weekend camping on ecstasy has been known to keep even the nosiest prying eyes minding their own damn business for a change. And this is especially true if you reach down your jeans to get unobstructed access to said balls. Even a nosy bastard knows what's good for them. Finally, just say, what are you looking at, bitch? Thank you.
Any concluding remarks?